with 10
She'll
seconds to
ban you
go.
again.
No, I swear. Hi, everyone. We're live. My little chatty chatsters in the members chat having good chatties. How is everyone? Hi. Ow. Hi, guys. Book club. We've had a book club on the first week and the last week of May. Why is that? I went on tour with Matt Dinnerman for Dungeon Crawler Carl. Was that good? Sure was. Double checking you guys can hear me. Are we having technical issues? Hey, Darren, thank you for resubscribing for 45 months. That's wonderful. For those that don't know, every time I do a book club, Members Plus, we're all in a Discord call together. And we're almost all on vid, which means it's like we're hanging out in a room together. And what's really funny is that on this Dungeon Crawler Carl tour, a lot of the members actually met me on the road. Jeff, I met you in person. That was something. Was I taller than you or are you taller than me? I'm taller than you by like an inch, aren't I? No, you're muted. Panic eyes. Panic eyes and hands up. That is my... Oh, and now I got the... Hi, Tate, the Aussie. Hello, Robin. I'm eating. That's why I'm not on camera. Yeah, but Robin, you are denying all of us the meal. I just realized I forgot to wear my tour shirt, says Lisa. How many of you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of how many are here? I met you guys in the last couple of weeks. So cool. Great community over here. If you're looking for an online book club, guess what? Moore's Book Club does that. Frito says, are we doing TikTok as well? Cool. We sure are. We sure are. I will say the one thing that is difficult about TikTok is the immediacy of the discussion, whereas this is long form discussion. We are going to be doing a full spoiler conversation about platform decay, Book 8 in the Murderbot Diaries, a series by Martha Wells, who I was lucky enough to interview yesterday. Clips of that will be rolling out, and then the episode is going to drop on Tuesday. Amy just raided over on Twitch. Hi, Amy. I saw you were playing Stardew Valley. I saw that because I got very excited about the fact that you were playing Stardew Valley because I just asked, and I posted this video today, so it's not really a spoiler. I asked author Martha Wells what her power was, which is playing, watching, and reading. And Martha Wells is playing Stardew Valley. So I got to talk about Stardew Valley and I got to bring up my favorite song, Wild Horseradish Jam, which is the best bop, which I'm obsessed with in Stardew Valley. So Amy, how are you, my darling? It's been a hot minute since I've been able to see you out in the big bad world. How are you? Amy says, what incredible company? I am doing book club this evening. I run a sci-fi and fantasy online book club where I encourage everyone to read 2 books a month, our bonus book, which is this book, and our main book every single month. Was this the main or the bonus? I can't remember. 2 books a month, 3 streams. Our main book, we do 2 2-hour streams, and our bonus book is just 1, all spoiler inclusive. And we are talking about the Murderbot Diaries. The Murderbot Diaries came out, I think, about 8 or 9 years ago the first time. There have been 8 in the series now at this stage. It is a sci-fi series mainly built up of novellas that's actually been made into a television show on Apple TV+, which we were talking about it in our little members-only chat beforehand. I thought that they did a fantastic job of that. Amy says, I'm doing fine. I love this. I'm so pleased to share some taste with Martha Wells. How good is Stardew Valley? Who are you romancing? My first question I will always ask, who are you romancing? Martha Wells is roommating with Krobus, which made me laugh out loud. That doesn't mean much to many, but let me just say out of all the romance options, roommating with Krobus is hilarious and possibly the most antisocial thing that you can do, which I love and is really on point for Martha Wells. They were both bonus books, technically, says Colleen. Please bear with me as well. I've lost my voice. I've just been on tour with Matt Dinnerman for the Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 8 release called A Parade of Horribles, which who here has started it or read it? Because it will be our main book for next month. I finished it. I finished it. Jeff, spoiler free, what'd you give it out of 5? Actually, it's a very tumultuous question to ask you. I've realized, and it is too late to
Yeah,
unask
that's probably
it.
not a great question to ask me. It was I enjoyed it.
It was fine. It was fine. It was
Title of
fine.
Jeff's podcast.
It was fine.
No, it was good. We'll get to it in the discussion, I suppose.
I will be reading it for the second time for next month's read. So it's fresh in my mind. Katie said I gave it 5 out of 5. Robin says he said he enjoyed it. That is high praise from Jeff. Willow Manning says, I romance Shane for the blue chicken. Shane's the alcoholic. But hey, he's also a fixer-upper. I believe in you. Amy married Leah, but maybe only because I'm not sure I knew you could roommate with Krobus. Great to see you. Oh, I love that. There you go. Darren is rereading Dungeon Crawler Carl number 7 first. Phantom Aria is reading it right now. Colleen's about to start it. K Frito saying your voice sounds fine. It really doesn't, but that's sweet of you. Robin romanced Harvey because I thought he would give me a discount on my hospital bills. He doesn't. That's some horse shit. Like, if you're going to marry a doctor, it's likely that it's not for his looks. It's so you can get that sweet doctor money and the discounts. Jeff is shaking his head at me. Oh, if anyone's wondering why I'm single, that's because I haven't met Harvey in real life yet. Not that I need discount on any hospital bills. Apart from right now, where I'm operating at 50%, I'm usually doing quite well. Robin said he literally picked me up next to our communal bed and brought me to the hospital and charged me. That's some horse shit. I actually don't like Harvey as much anymore. He's on my shit list. Not as much as Adam Vision is, though, for stealing my... Adam Vision convinced me to break up with my fiancé. Convinced me... No, I was married. Convinced me to leave my husband so that he could propose to him the next day. I don't even know if he waited a full day. I don't even know if it was a full day. I'm pretty sure as soon as my man left the front door, Adam had dropped his knee outside my place. And the fucker said yes. Like, that really upset me. I'm just saying. Toes supposed to romanced Abigail. That's a good get. Some of them are younger though. Some of them I feel a little bit weird about. Wait, there's a quote here. Adam is the best. Nobody beats him and he's my favorite person. Maude on Adam since the day that she met him. Just a really great time to remind everyone that Adam is a moderator here. And I'm pretty sure that was fabricated and made up and honestly an abuse of power as far as I'm concerned. Willow said I would romance Willie if I could. That's just the sentence, saying it out loud sounds suggestive, Willow. I hope you know that. Willow and Willie. That shouldn't be as funny as it is. But it is. Jordan is in the TikTok chat. Sorry, my eyes are watering from laughing at a not even funny joke. Of course, I catch the live right before I have to go to Dungeons and Dragons tonight. Jordan, the fact that you are playing Dungeons and Dragons is the win. I hope you know that. Enjoyed your bard adventures. Wait, is that... It's not Geordie? This is another Geordie. This is another Jordan playing D&D. What are the chances? If your name is Jordan, this is your sign to start playing Dungeons and Dragons. Just letting you know I'm on TikTok and I'm on Twitch and I'm on YouTube. Who's over on the YouTube? Am I live on YouTube? Hello?
Yeah.
I am?
Yeah, you are.
I am. This is another Jordan playing D&D. Shush. Vaden and K Frito are on there. K Frito, you are now talking and commenting, I think, in 4 separate places. Let me just quickly check the show chat. Yes, 4 separate places. Now that is, I was going to say, Sprinkles, that is a level of dedication that I am asking everyone to strive for. Appreciate that big time. James Bunrock, you are currently the top viewer over on TikTok, and I'm looking at you in the Members Plus chat. It's quite impeccable. Thank you, everyone. Very exciting. So, to go back, we are going full spoilers. It is a discussion. Oh, would you look at that? I have it right here. Are you seeing double? Platform Decay by Martha Wells. It's a little book. Look at that. What did you say? How many pages, Jimmy? 235?
256, I believe.
256. Now I will check. I have it in my hot little hand. 242. You know what I didn't get to ask Martha Wells about, which I regret? Acknowledgements. Well, this has been another hard year. If you're reading this, I'm just glad you're still around. First question should have been, Martha, do you need a hug? Are we good? That sounds like a tough year, and well done on continuing to write. Is Maude's mic volume on 85%? No, it's certainly not. It's actually hitting the red when I talk because I ramped it up to 100, and it is technically going to be blowing out soon. It's in the red. Do you know what the red means? Distortion. I have to eat the mic because my voice is quiet because I'm hoiting. KP, go back to work. Thank you for dropping the bits. You're working right now. Go to work. Go work. Get back to work. What are you doing? Is everyone else also at work while watching this stream? Let me know. Darren puts his hand up. Tim's got his hand up. Darren's like a very guilty look. I won't name first and last names and places of employment, so we're good.
Good job.
Don't worry, Darren just says that I am slacking real bad right now. There you go, I've just outed you there. Toast Poster says, trying to get me back on track. Thank you, Toast Poster. Says, book good, 5 out of 5, just a fun adventure with Murderbot. I loved the emotional checks. All right, so let's kick off the discussion. If you've read it, what did you give Murderbot Platform Decay Book 5 out of 5? Notebook 8 out of 5. What did you give it out of 5? Darren, you were first. You gave it a 4. Tell me why. Please.
For me, it took a little bit to get into. Like, I liked the way that it ended. I liked all the characters for the most part. I remembered nobody.
Same. Who's Leonide? Lennon.
Zero clue. Any of the other human characters, nothing.
Well, I know that Mensa's got
the name,
multiple partners, and that I don't know if we've had Sophie in it before, or nah.
I liked the characters, so not knowing who they were didn't really impact whether I liked the characters or not. And I liked the Murderbot internal dialogue. I just thought the plot didn't matter. It was just the plot. I didn't find the plot to be particularly interesting. It's just
it was
humans
an extraction
in trouble,
mystery.
Murderbot saves the day. Yeah, I feel like we've had that plot before.
We have,
Like all the other stuff is good and it makes up for it, but that's why it's a 4.
And if you play RPG games, we all know that escorting missions are the worst.
It's hey, we're a family of a highly sought after by enemies. Let's take public transit to the place that we're going to rather than a private ship.
That's because that's all they have. I think that's what
They could have. I feel like they said they could have taken a preservation ship, but they weren't trying to. They were trying to be good.
They
and
stole
they
a
took the bus.
ship, and then got pirates, and then stole their ship, and then.
Like at the beginning of why they're in the mess to begin with.
Why are they in the mess?
They were going to see some other person, and rather than taking a preservation ship to go see them, they took like a public vessel, and then that public vessel got bribed and diverted, and they got captured. And that's how they got into the mess to begin with.
And that's
why they're on the dumb Taurus.
Barrister Stranza, knowing that preservation has a lot of key information, and Mensa is a big part of that, and so now Mensa and all adjacent family members and all of the preservation are basically like getting kidnapped.
Mensa just feels like a high-profile figure in everything, and so her family seems like they would be targeted. Although it wasn't Barriss Mensa that targeted her; it was Leonide trying to use them as leverage to get out. So I guess they just sort of got caught up by Leonide, who's
Leonide? What book was that one? Was that Network?
Zero. I tried to look it up and I still couldn't find it. So,
I did too.
yeah, 0.
Cantrips, thanks for the follow. Just here for coffee, thanks for the follow. Appreciate that. Welcome. This is a book club. Sit down. We're chatting books. Sprinkles, you gave it a 4. You've got notes?
Yeah.
Give me the notes.
I do have notes. Yes. So, as you were saying before, I generally did not remember much of the family names. I just knew that Murderbot was there to rescue these people, bring them out of the thing, what have you. What I thought was the most amusing part is, like you said before, you're making fun of me talking with my hands. I'm sorry, I'm Italian. This is what people do. Anyway, there you go. It's it's irrelevant.
Sorry, we didn't mean to frazzle you.
But yes, I am focused on the children. I think that it's funny when he interacts with children. One of the things that I thought was funny was the quote where he's like, I really want to kill them, but they were so whiny and screamy. It was hard to get started. He's like, maybe I could bribe them. And he's like, and be nice to them. And he's like, maybe if you attack me all at once, you could kill me.
I did like that part.
And I was just like, oh my God, Murderbot, you're hilarious. His inner dialogue and the check-ins was just like the saving grace of the book. Very amusing. And
why did you deduct a point?
Oh, I deducted a point because in the beginning of the book, I was kind of confused as to what was going on because they kind of just like thrust you into it, and I was like, what's going on here? And I would have to sometimes go back a page and reread what I was trying to understand, and I was like, what happens? But once it got going, I think chapter 5 or 6, it really just started to steamroll into a very interesting story.
I felt the same, and I feel like Darren said the same thing. The first part was trying to find what the hell was going on and who was what and what's going on, but then once we got into the gear, it was a lot more fun, and that's why we all have 4 out of 5 scores. Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I just want to shout out Book Barber is dropping by on the live to say hi, as is Orchristic. I think that's a play on words. Also, Stormfather shared the live. I didn't know you can do that, but thanks for sharing the love by sharing the live. That's a lot of fun. Kayla is over on YouTube, as well as Jason. Oh, Zelda. Not now. Jason said Murderbot was built for escort missions. Good point. And Kayla said when they made that documentary thing to convince the colonists that the corporation was evil, Leonide, probably misspelled because I listened, same, was the corp supervisor whose team turned on her. Oh, okay, so we got the full evil villain origin story. Thank you, Kayla, for that. That's fantastic. And bonus points, you got the name correct. So that's wins all round when you think about it. A lot of fun. We've got an interesting thing happening here because Katie, you gave it a perfect score, 5 out of 5. But Bianchi gave it a 3, and James, you gave it a 2. So, Katie, I want to hear why, if you can, because I know you're usually busy around this time. Let me know why you gave Murderbot a 5 out of 5.
I just enjoyed the story. That's just purely love of Murderbot, and so it got a perfect score.
Great. Love it. You had a good time. You get a perfect score. Makes sense. James, you gave it a 2. Do you want to let me know and you want to give your rant? Please make it 3 sentences plus. I forgot to feed my dog.
Yeah, my score is, I guess, audiobook only. The narrator's kind of sleepy time tea. And the majority of the book seemed to be Murderbot staring at security footage. And there's very little dialogue, and all the humans are interchangeable. I love Mensa, so that docks because I want to see Mensa. And I had something else and I just blanked on my point.
Thank you. Oh my God, Zelda was such a brat about that she was eating the food before it even landed in the bowl. That is a first. What a brat. My dog, I love her, and I feel terrible that I forgot. Yes?
I remember, and then the tone doesn't change, at least with the audiobook. I couldn't tell if it was an action or he was just staring at footage. So
Now,
the narrator was just the same tone through the whole thing.
is this the first time you've been listening to Kevin Free? KR Free?
I think so.
Yeah,
I think I've listened partially, but this is the first time I listened to the whole book, just audiobook.
Martha loves him. I'm not a fan of his audiobook narration style. I'm getting used to it. I'm getting better with it because I've been from day one. I know and remember that Seb said the graphic audio, because they've been released for at least the first 4 of them, the graphic audio is really, really good. It needs to be mentioned that every performance iteration of Murderbot being brought to life, Murderbot is genderless. Literally has organic tissue in some spots, but it's a program. It is supposed to have a humanoid shape. It is not supposed to be he or she. Murderbot refers to itself as Murderbot. Other people refer to it as it. It's not even a they. It is an it. So that's really interesting. Kevin, narrator, man. Alexander Skarsgård, man. Graphic audio, male narrator. It defaults to a man. We've had incredible conversations about how you pictured Murderbot. Listening to it, it would default to man for me. I solicited questions for Martha Wells yesterday. People would submit questions calling Murderbot he, himself. How did he enjoy dancing? I asked Martha Wells about this, and the main thing was that security, we default to masculine. A security or anything that requires combat, physicality, even computers a lot of the time, and having that as like a combination. This is supposed to be a bodyguard. They're all sort of default into a masculine trait. Martha Wells did say that even though a man is cast as Murderbot and he's very male presenting, Martha said a couple of things that I found really interesting, and you'll see this in the full release of the episode and in clips that are coming out. There was a little bit of backlash and uproar about Alexander Skarsgård being cast, and some people were saying, and the example that Martha gave was Alexander Skarsgård is too attractive to be non-binary. And Martha goes, listen to what you've just said. That is messed up, first of all. And the second thing that she wanted to say about it was non-binary people do not owe you any sort of way to present themselves. So if someone who identifies as non-binary is incredibly masculine or incredibly feminine, that's totally their discretion. They do not owe you how they present themselves. So in, I guess, using that logic and understanding with Alexander Skarsgård, and this is what happens with Murderbot as well. Murderbot adjusts the height so that it's not at the, template of what a sec unit exists at height-wise. Can grow its hair, can grow its eyebrows, can grow its arm hair, remove that. It is how they choose to present themselves. So if it wants to look like Alexander Skarsgård, my mum's going to be thrilled about it. She's got a massive crush on him. The things that they did in the show that Martha really appreciated was a lot of the attention to detail in appearance is only from sort of the clavicles up. And there was a really important scene that Martha fought for in the show, and that is seeing Murderbot at a stationary unit. And I think it was getting reset or reprogrammed or something like that. And the suit was completely off. And you saw that from basically clavicles down, the skin texture was synthetic. So there were no longer any pores on the skin. There was no hair on the arms. It was a very synthetic looking skin texture. There were no nipples, belly button, or genitalia. And that was really important. But even one step further, Murderbot had almost like the Barbie and Ken doll hip adjustment placement, so that you are very sternly reminded that the internal mechanisms are externally apparent. So you put pants on, you don't know. But we're talking Code Monkey, we're talking Murderbot. the Apple TV Plus show, which is what the book series that we are covering is based on. So this is Murderbot is a genderless security unit that is purposely genderless and androgynous. And I guess I would like to open up this question again now that we're 8 books in and we've had the audiobook is a male narrator, the actor is a male. How do you picture Murderbot at this stage? Because I know that initially in the first 4 novellas before the show came out, casting I think had just been announced. It was around that time. It was like maybe even before casting. I pictured the helmet on all the time. So it was Mass Effect for me. It was a Mass Effect character. And then I think by book 2, the helmet sort of came off. And I went online and looked at fan art. And there was a very androgynous Asian character that someone had drawn. And I was like, boom, that's my Murderbot. So for me, Murderbot's been Asian a lot of the time. And then, of course, Alexander Skarsgård gets cast. And you're like, okay, that couldn't be more different, really. What does Murderbot look like to you, is my question. Who wants to go first? Jimmy? James?
Oh, you mean the other one?
Jimmy?
Me.
Yep.
Okay. I just want to make sure. Anyway, so initially, like you said before, he was quite androgynous. But then when I saw the show and Alexander Skarsgård did such a good job as Murderbot, I kept thinking of him as Murderbot because it was very funny. But yes, I understand that he is an androgynous. Oh, I just did it. But you get a little confused, but you get my point.
It is androgynous. I, having watched season 1 of the show and loving it, yes, I have. Murderbot has been completely brought to life 3-dimensionally by an actor. That is now my default. It wasn't at all. It is now. And I think that's okay. Baden said, I don't think I ever had a face of Murderbot in mind, but I haven't seen the show though. Academic, who's over on YouTube, said, I've listened to the first 2 books so far, and my mental image is just Sunny from iRobot. Sunny from iRobot. Oh, right. That really scary looking mechanical neck glazed over robot dude. Got it? Okay. K. Frito said, I saw Murderbot as the original book cover in the white suit, no face. Code Monkey said they do have a dramatization where 3 had a female voice. I also see 3 as feminine. For some reason, 3 is still quite androgynous, short hair, but not even like feminine, but just female, if that makes sense. GZTO2TT. I don't know how to say your name easily. That sounds like a barcode. Help me out with what that is. I'm old. But thank you so much for the follow. Toaster Post said, I've seen Murderbot as more male presenting, but it's Skarsgård now. There you go. Anyone else? Lisa says, does anyone else want an action figure of the little sec units from the opening sequence of the show? They are so cute.
Every time I see it, I'm like, I want one. They need to sell them.
They should. Alicia says, wait, I thought all the Murderbots were clones, at least those from the same company. Initially, yes. But they never really took their helmets off. So they were kind of like what you see here, like that was all the same model, make and model. Well, no, there were different makes and models, and that actually got addressed in the show as well, where they showed like 3 different sec units, and one was a bit older and jankier, and that was the Murderbot that we have. And there were other ones that were like updated models, but it was like that adjacent, really. Skylar, hello, Skylar. Wait, are you a new member, Skylar? Welcome. I pictured Murderbot as female-bodied, maybe like Ripley. I like that. Hi, Skylar. I can't recall if you're a member or member plus, but I've been seeing all your questions in the author docs. And so now 2 times for Matt Dinnerman and for Martha Wells, I've asked your questions. So thank you so much for participating in that way. I didn't read the books. How do I say your name? Gzdot. What do I do with that? I didn't read the books until after the TV show had started, so default is actor. But it is explained that they have faces to make clients more comfortable. Plus, I guess Many police, soldiers, and security are male. There it is. Yeah, there you go. Academic said, I've never seen Sunny as scary. I will say that if like an AI unit looks like Sunny, it's the eyes. Those eyes, they're like, I'm one bad code away from killing you. Maybe that's a me problem. Morrigan says, I need to read the newest one. It did just come out a couple of weeks ago, which is why we made it our book for May. We've done all of Murderbot books for Maude's Book Club so far throughout the years because we love it. We love Murderbot. It's such a great book. Bryce's brain vomit says, hey, Maude. Hello, Bryce. Welcome. We're chatting Murderbot. We are rating platform Decay out of 5. Whose score didn't get weighed in on? Who has not? Alicia says 4 out of 5. I reread the series, so I wasn't as lost, but I wanted more dialogue. It was like listening to a chess player's inner monologue of them strategizing. It is interesting, but a bit much without visualization. Great feedback. I get it. KP Dub says 4.5 out of 5 because I loved all the direct conversations and the emotion check moments. It could have had more plot. The story started slow but built up nicely. Biggest weakness, where's art? Where's art? Berkey gave it a 3.5 out of 5. It was fine, just a little lackluster. Lisa, you said your score is TBD. I'm going to re-listen to it and pay better attention. I binged the whole thing yesterday while playing games. I definitely missed stuff. I know, every time I listen to a book, I want to know my retention. Hi, you 100% of the book, but you 72 got it. You only listened to 64% of this. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Oops. Vaden, you gave it a 3.5.
Yes. So I enjoyed it. It was fun. For the ride, but like I don't think I'm gonna find too much of memorable. It's more like in the moment it's good, but afterwards I'm not gonna remember much except for a couple cool lines really.
Okay, needed more. Okay, I'm gonna talk about. Oh, Skylar said 4 out of 5. I liked some of the earlier books more. Colleen said it did reference art. Yeah, but art wasn't there, and I loved their dynamic, their banter. See Bobberverse Book 2 for a Maude retention score. That Book 2 did not exist. I maybe got 4 chapters broken. That just wasn't fair. And it's like, not for a great narrator. Like, God, Ray was giving it his best. It was just me. And I've noticed this as well with science fiction. When I listen to Kiosk, Port, not even Mainframe, like the language used here, it's really so much harder for me to picture it. Like, because it requires, and I'm listening to the book, so I don't have time to pause, right? If I pause, I'm missing the book. A few things, and I'm like listening to the descriptions of where they are, and I'm like, go back 30 seconds, listen again, and I'm really paying attention, and I'm like, got nothing. There was a bowl-shaped ship with hydroponics, not plonic. I thought it was a hydroponic, but it's a ponic. What's a hydroponic? Has it always been hydroponic? There's never been a plonic. It's never plonic. Cool. Now I've already missed 35 seconds of the narration because that's what my brain does. I thought, because it's a plant, I thought it was a plonic. It's a ponic. Okay. Well,
Do you have the same issue with the Stormlight archives? It's so long and descriptive.
No, because it's fantasy and any kind of... sometimes actually with Navani, her structures, because it starts going into science fantasy and I'm like, hold on, how tall is it? What shape is it at the top? What propulsion? As soon as it goes into that, I'm like, meh. You tell me a horse, a sword, and magic, great. You tell me about a space vessel and plugging in to look at a thing and then sending a drone, but then tapping into 9 different things to override. I'm just like, oh, no, thank you. So I'm just hydroponics. I just thought it was hydroponic this whole time. Plonic plant. Maybe that's what my brain did to compute it. a hydroponic is a plant. And so I was like, hydroponic. You got the giggles over that. Oh, dear. I'm the opposite with fantasy, says K. Frito. There you go. Hydroponic is a technique of growing plants using water-based nutrition solution rather than soil, and can include an aggregate. You've lost me. I got through half of a description. I was like, nah, I'm good. I will always prefer fantasy over science fiction because of that. Does anyone else have this issue or a preference? And GZ said, just call me GZ because there's a whole nerdy story behind it. Academic says, Maude's solution is to read sci-fi and to listen to fantasy. Bingo. Perfect. I love that. Hydroponic. Academic says, no score yet, though, because I got too busy and I still need to read books 3 to 5. Pianki says, nah, both sci-fi and fantasy are equally great. Yeah, but my brain just doesn't get there. And sometimes when it's like a made-up word for a futuristic thing, it just takes that extra second that I don't have liberty because I'm listening. So you're right. That's exactly the solution that we have. Frida says, we love Murderbot. Polar Bear sent me a peach emoji. I'm too old for that shit. I don't even know what that means anymore. Just know that it Tefloned on me. Very sweet if it was with good intentions, but... Polar Bear Jer says, art was the balance. Oh, Polar Bear Jer is sending... A peach is a nice thing. Thank you. Got it. Tales with Tours says, love Martha Wells. Tales with Tours is an Aussie. Hello, love. Thank you for using the same display picture on all your social platforms so I can figure that out quicker. Alicia says, so I totally tune out if they describe something that I don't care about, but I love hearing about different habitat descriptions. Huh. Toastpost says, if my brain shakes out, I just call it a dingle, like from the Spider-Verse. Yeah, the dingle thing. Yep. Catch says, give me spaceships and lasers. Fuck yeah. Bianchi says, I feel like I find more made-up words in fantasy than sci-fi. Yeah, but then with fantasy, it's usually their name. And they've given me, like, brown hair, onyx eyes with fucking gold flecks in it. Their name can be Jamyala Bala, you know, because that doesn't matter. I can see them. But I feel like in sci-fi, their name is monosyllabic half the time, where it's like Frey or Triss or something like that. And the description, it's like, what color is the cybernetic attachment? I don't know. So there you go. Jay Buntrex says, I can't wait to discuss the Australian voices in Parade of Horribles. Matt has made Jeff perform that live in front of me twice. Dragonsteel Nexus in December and in Glasgow this year. Jeff gave no fucks as well. And that was entirely the point. And the worst part is that Matt Dinnerman's just sitting there giggling his face off, loving every second of it. So, for the US tour, I made and drew attention to the fact that Matt Dinnerman has picked big fights where he needs to apologize to two bodies of people, Australians and gingers. He crossed a line. He knows what he did. Alicia says, I do feel bad about not being able to focus when there's less dialogue. My son has a language disability as part of his autism, and I get it when Murderbot feels drained after talking. Sometimes hearing all of the Murderbot feelings and issues is making me sad, and I have to put the book down. Oh, honey. That's so sweet, though. Like, at the same time, to kind of get that understanding in a Murderbot sort of, like, capacity, because in real life, they're not having that conversation because they've already sort of shut down and gone non-verbal, but we are privy to the processing of it, which I think is really beneficial for us. Microwavem has just followed. Thank you. Welcome to Moore's Book Club. Tails says, Matt is such a vibe. Bring him to Australia, Maud. Bring him here. I'm trying. I am trying. Trust me. I'm giving it a red hot go. Xavier Clark has just dropped by on YouTube. Hello, hello. Academic says, do you truly feel like Australians deserve an apology? He gave male kangaroos a pouch. like, and I'll be honest, Joel bloody Daniel Phillips from Lit Escalates needs to apologise to Australians after painting those kangaroos. Still not convinced he's ever seen one. The ears don't go down. It hasn't got the body of a bear. Captain Trips says you are so lucky to moderate with Matt. I am lucky. We've had a really, really fun time doing it. GZ said, just glanced over at the various bookshelves in the digital library and I'm probably 60 to 40, sci-fi to fantasy. I've always been a reader and I just want to be entertained and or challenged. GZ, meet Jeff. Jeff, meet GZ. Entertained and or challenged? No. Jeff wants to be both. I prefer being entertained. Jeff prefers being challenged. And I feel like that's a book club spectrum as well. Where do you sit on the spectrum? I'm like 98 entertained. Every now and then if I want to read a non-fiction, I want to learn, sure. But I'm going to tell you 40% of the plot and drop some clues in there and then you have to figure it out. And if you didn't, it's on you. No. Jeff?
I will say, as I was reading this book, I was like, oh, Maude's going to love this. And I was sitting there going, it's all fluff. There's nothing. There's nothing to the book. It's like one thing happens and the next, and none of it matters, and it's all like.
So that's actually my gripe. You would think that I would love this. We are at book 8 in the series, and this is my pull my sleeves back. It's rant time. Yes, 6 of the 8 have been novellas, and 2 of them have been sort of more full-sized of a book. This is 101 writing, whether it's a television series or whether it's a book series. You need an overarching plot. You need the story. And then your side quests. This book was 100% side quest. It did not progress an overall plot at all. And at book 8, we actually need to be really honing in that main plot. We need to be coming to the end of the story as a whole. And I don't think book 8 should have just been side quest. Side quest was great in book 3 because book 1 was establishing it. Book 2 was getting autonomy. Book 3 was out on his own and establishing a relationship with art. I liked that side quest. We don't even get art in this book. It is purely side quest. This book could exist or not exist, and it would not impact Murderbot as a whole.
Well,
yes.
Just problem is we don't know where it's. I don't know if you're part of the questions you asked Martha during the interview, but we don't know where it's going to lead to, right? We don't know.
I was just about to say that, Vaden. There will be one more Murderbot book. This was technically the second last book, contractually, that Martha has. So I am doubling down on the fact that this book should have enhanced and excelled a overlying plot not even way more, at all. I will say that there are pros and cons. At this point in the story, is Murderbot still evolving as a character? Yes. The introduction of the emotion check was brilliant. I didn't get sick of it. I really liked that. I liked it as a tidbit and insight into Murderbot. You are seeing Murderbot question at regulating its feelings. What am I feeling right now? Sometimes it's really confusing. I don't know what this is. Sometimes it's like, oh, I know I'm feeling anger and it's valid and I know why I'm feeling anger. Having those moments of confidence, of vulnerability, of assurance, and of humor, loved that. We've had a previous thing happen in Murderbot where Murderbot had actually had a fabricated memory storage thing happen. So it was a form of PTSD. Murderbot had done something and it had tweaked, or it didn't even realize it had done it, but it had basically inserted false memories as a form of getting through PTSD and trauma. That was really well done. That was an exploration of this character and it understanding that you just can't reset and wipe out and erase things that have happened. particular things that happen in your past leave a mark. And that was that exploration. I think what was really interesting is that none of us really remembered the characters or really recalled the plot. At book 8, that's a problem. We need to be landing the ship plot. And it needs to be, and I think that's a really exciting thing, because this is where we are starting to wrap up or find solution to a lot of the things. This should not have been a side quest. And so when I read Martha's acknowledgements about it being a hard year, it kind of made sense. She had to write this book. I'm not sure she wanted to write this book. And that, Jeff, is where you're getting the fluff, the safe. I'd be really interested in the next book, but I also know that Martha said that Murderbot gave her the liberty and freedom to write what she wanted to write. I think that initially Murderbot was only ever going to be All Systems Red, which was the very first novella. I feel like it could have been the first 4 and that would have been fun, but it didn't have an arc in that as a plot. It's kind of done that. And it's continuing, but there's just there's no flow, there's no through line. Murderbot is such a great character that it almost is okay. That it's kind of acceptable. Like, how many of us are just happy to be here reading Murderbot? I love being back here. I love being in Murderbot's head. A non-human character is the most relatable human that we've ever met, known, understood, or can relate to. And that is so powerful. So, lots of thoughts there. Colleen says that's something that I think a lot of people on the spectrum have to learn. I got some books that were specifically designed to help children identify their emotions. I love that. Alicia was responding to you, Vaden. I think of it like the difference between Thor, Ragnarok, and Love and Thunder. The character can be fun, but if the plot isn't developed, it doesn't matter. Berkey says, the series never really felt like it was working towards an overarching plot. It all just seems episodic with maybe a few small areas of growth for Murderbot only. That's probably why my overall thought is meh. Yet, at this stage, I think a series requires more than what we're getting. Jeff, you have your thinking face on.
I guess I'd say I think there's been a lot of growth from Murderbot. I think Murderbot has like moved through a lot of stages of like development, I guess. So I don't know that there isn't an overarching plot. I mean, I think simply starting to create friends, like simply like all of the stuff that he's going through is going through is the overarching plot. And it
no, I would argue that is character development, and I do not think that plot can be character development exclusively.
Fair enough, but I think Murderbot is such a unique character and fills a really interesting place, I guess, that I personally I forgive some of that.
Yes.
Not in this book. This book was like, but I mean, I enjoyed it, but it was over, and then I was like, okay, and I'm never going to think about it again.
Yes, that, and it's like, okay, but why? What are we doing? Like, I'm on the adventure with you, Murderbot. Where are we going? What is the point, purpose, plot? And it's like, well, I can check my emotions now. You're like, okay, and it just needs a little bit more substance at this stage. Jeezy says, non-human as a mirror of humanity was well developed with data from Star Trek The Next Generation. I know we have some Trekkies in here. You immediately got a thumbs up from Jimmy for that one. Baden, your hand's up.
Yeah, I would just say, I think how it help is like, I don't, like there's kind of like the Boris Strong, just kind of like the villain of the series. Like, huh? Oh, what happened there?
He mocked how I said data. Data. It is how I say it. But I had to find the backstage camera to give it so that the main show didn't see what I was doing. That was just for Jeff only.
Fair enough. But yeah, I just say like the main villain we've had so far is like, Evil Corporation, Boris Johnson, and there's another one that was before that, I can't remember the name, but like basically, usually like a lot of books like will have like a more clear, like especially like a person, like someone to, because right now it's like Faceless Corporation. It's not really much of a villain. Like sure, it's a villain, but it's not really, doesn't feel personal, doesn't feel like strong. Usually the villain's like some kind of like mirror of the protagonist, something like that. There's someone, you clearly see them on a regular basis. Like it's built up. Here is really just, okay, here's the bad guy. They do bad things.
Not even, sometimes it's just a corporation or a faceless entity. Like, yeah.
Yeah, so it's like, it feels like there's no, because that, the lack of plot, like it makes it feel like it doesn't make it feel meaningless. And like, but by now, definitely, especially the second last book, it should have been like, here's a villain, and then here's what they did that's super horrible, and eventually we'll take him down or whatever, and finish the character growth of the main character. But like, it just seems, like I said, lots of filler and no clear resolution, no clear goal, and no destination. You're like, okay, I see where this is going to go into.
Destination. I know it's about journey before destination, but knowing a destination exists is kind of cool as well. Jeff makes a really great point. Isn't the bad guy in Dungeon Crawler Carl mostly just the corporations? Yes, and we just had a big conversation about how it's mainly Murderbot's story and Murderbot's growth, and all of the secondary characters are sort of nameless, faceless, and like two-dimensional. They have a couple of traits, but we're not with them long enough to kind of grow with them as well. Dungeon Crawler Carl has incredible depth in their supporting cast. It's not just Carl. It's Carl and Donut. It's Carl and Donut's dynamic. It's all of their party. It's Carl trying to save everyone. It's so many things. Is the AI a good guy? Is the AI a bad guy? Is the AI trying to protect Carl? It's not just AI. Who's running the AI? The AI is going rogue. Is it the Valte Corporation? Is it the Borant Corporation? Is it the other factions that are like, way more multifaceted? James says sometimes the villain is Donut's impulsiveness. There you go. Don't you dare, Jimmy. Don't you dare. The AI is a good guy. Bouquet. Are you spoiling? Are you spoiling? Feels a little spoilery. Definitely talking about Bouquet when we haven't done Bouquet yet. Alicia says, it almost felt like this book focused too much on the secondary characters and not really about Murderbot. I had to wonder if the series getting picked up for TV made the author feel like that she needed to flesh out the Murderbot world more. All right, so here's some insight. Oh, I've been wanting to share this. If you want TV news, here it is now. Murderbot Season 1 was the very first novella, All Systems Red. Murderbot Season 2 started filming last month. Murderbot Season 2 will be novellas 2, 3, and 4 combined. Now, a lot of the time, Murderbot goes away from our main cast that we met in Season 1. It will be rewritten to focus on the extension of our cast 1 together. So instead of Murderbot leaving them to do something, it's going to kind of seamlessly bring them into that more. And I think the focus will be found family for that. But that's a really interesting thing where Season 2 is cramming 3 novellas into it when Season 1 was just 1 novella. Also, Martha Wells has said that an end of the season should always feel like a clean wrap. She's got a pet peeve about seasons that leave it very open-ended and on cliffhangers, thinking that they'll get renewed, and then they're not, and you never have like closure. And I feel like we can all name at least 3 seasons that's happened to. Shadow and Bone is a great example of that. Netflix cut that one off, and it was like, it had so much story still to tell, and it left on a massive sort of like, well, you'll find out next season. No, we didn't. There was no Season 3. So she has guaranteed that the end of Season 2 will feel completed, with the potential to keep expanding it as well. Martha also said that a television series, like an adaptation, any kind of adaptation is glorified fanfic, because it's someone else taking the concept and doing what they would want to do with it, essentially. And then I said, to clarify, we are saying that Apple TV Plus, the show is fan fiction with a fuck ton of budget. And she was like, well, yes, it's fan fiction with a lot of budget. And I'm like, well, if there was ever an adaptation to be made, you'd want it to be one with a big budget. So that was a win. And K Frito says it's Apple. They know how much money they want to give to a show. Exactly. People are saying the shows that got cancelled on cliffhangers, Dead Like Me, Pushing Daisies. Love, 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 George. George? What's that? You have a microphone, but you're typing the answer.
He's the character. She's the lead character from Dead Like Me.
Got it. Thank you.
Georgina.
Got it. Academic is saying, I thought the entire point was to be Isaac Asimov. I don't know how long ago that conversation was. I do feel like plot can be a character development. Okay, well, there you go. I think it can be to a point. I think it could lift maybe 75% of a plot, but you still need to have something for the character to be what's the journey that it's on. Fantastic. Okay, so let's talk about some key questions because that's already the first hour. Did anyone else not talk about their thoughts on the overall rating of Murderbot? Vaden, are we recording scores anymore?
Yeah, I got it.
Really?
Yeah, I've been recording. I don't have it all, I calculate it because I usually have to wait because sometimes some people come in late. But yeah, I got them all.
What's our average? 4?
Yeah, about a 4.
That's still not bad for a book that has not much plot, and that could take it or leave it as far as like it impacting an entire story. A 4 out of 5 is still brilliant. I do love Murderbot as a character. I think Murderbot as a character is just glorious. And that's, something that Martha did say to me, which is so apparent in her writing. She's like, I have such a distinct, clear Murderbot voice. She was like, I could go to the grocery store with Murderbot and know exactly how that plays out. I can put Murderbot in any scenario, in any situation, and know exactly what happens and exactly what they think or it thinks, feels, everything. You can tell that in the writing. You can insert Murderbot and away you go, and it unleashes. And I think that by book 8, that's something that is so powerful with her writing, and that's something that I absolutely appreciate. But I'm like, you've mastered Murderbot's voice. Let's ramp up the stakes. Let's like really have a pressure cooker moment with Murderbot. Like, sure, it does an emotion check. That's great. What else? Like, let's really challenge that emotion. Let's figure out what's happening instead of another retcon mission or, the side quest, like the side mission. Like what this is now that we've got such a grasp on the character, putting it and challenging it in plot is when to do it. And I do think that Red Rising does a very, very good job of that. You start to know a character, you start to get a character, you've seen a lot with the character, and then the plot 180s, or the plot just like bottoms out, or the plot takes a turn, and you're just like, oh wow, now I'm seeing a completely sort of like different version of this character because it's been put in a high pressure situation. Colleen says, I think I just automatically give Murderbot a 5. Yep, fair enough. One last thing that I want to talk about from the interview that I had with Martha Wells, and it blew my mind. The name of the clip will be, author of Murderbot realized she had autism when writing Murderbot. Didn't know before, was not aware. Writing this and having the feedback and like it being so relatable to many people on the spectrum and like people kind of like identifying traits of autism and how accurate it is. And Martha's here going, oh, I just poured myself into Murderbot. Does this mean? And it's like, yep, there it is. And Martha spoke a little bit about, she's a little bit older. And she said when there were no diagnoses of this when I was younger, especially for women, girls. Girls were the number one neglected sort of like case study when it came to any sort of like autistic trait. It was the boys that had learning difficulties, which then became Asperger's, which then, there were a lot more clinical studies and trials. I mean, medicine as a whole really only do studies for men. there's a whole argument to be made there. And Martha and I got into it with a few topics, not like against each other, just like how fucked are we? Like we kind of had those conversations with AI and with monitoring and smartphones and spectrum, and how I didn't know this, but apparently this new administration want to start tagging and flagging autism. If you are diagnosed with autism, like it needs to be registered now. It sounds like another form of government othering. It's like, well, it was gay people, it became trans people, it's still trans people, and now it's autism. What? So I went on this big rant because, you know, I've had a very first-hand experience with autism. As far as the spectrum goes, my EQ is far superior to IQ. But all the men in my family are autistic, and my brother noticeably so. And, you know, like how I try to communicate things with my brother, common sense does not exist. You have to sort of gamify it, modify it, and like talk in a way that their brain understands and computes. Jeff, you had this when you were giving my other brother feedback on his book. I was trying to use intuition to talk to him. That does not apply. That does not make sense, but algorithm does. And I'm like, I can't talk an algorithm, I talk an intuition. And that's the difference there. But everyone works differently, and I love it. I think it's fantastic. Me as a creator, me as someone in a workforce space, I will never be at a capacity that an autistic thinking person and their brain spectrum can do. I will never be able to compete with that. And the way that I talk about it with my brother is that we play video games together. And so it's about stat point distribution, right? Every skill set is a stat point that we are given. I have more of an evenly spread stat distribution. My brother has many with none. And that's because they are all built up into math and science and like the way that his brain works. He is genius level with some, but lower than average on others. And that's the distribution, right? I'm charisma maxed, sure. That's where my stat points have gone. I cannot, and this is even in a pop culture space that I'm in creatively in my industry. I will never be obsessed over an IP than someone on the spectrum, and that is their topic of interest. I can't compete with that. They can live, breathe, and absorb and think and analyze it non-stop and not tire from it. I don't have that. I will get sick of it. I need variation. So I see it as a superpower. I truly do believe society benefits from different ways that our brain works. And these spikes that some people have, like for a great example, my brother in high school never developed an English or vocabulary past the 8th grade, but in the 10th grade was doing second year university maths, right? And that's just how that went. So should he be a writer or, you know, analyze books for a living? No. Does he, for fun, wonder how fast a plane has to fly to constantly fly in daylight? Yes. Which is why surveying was perfect for him. He will be better than the average surveyor because of his autism. His brain calculates, processes, and thinks of things that the average person overlooks. My brother's nickname in his workforce is the human calculator. So anytime someone wants to slam or put a negative spin on autism, I'm like, you're so wrong. You are not seeing this in the way that I see this. I see it as a superpower, but I also can get frustrated when I am dealing and operating at a higher level and they are in a lower level. So my brother is very argumentative and common sense doesn't apply. That can be difficult. But if I ever have a math problem, he will blitz through it. So there you go. I had that whole spiel with Martha as well, which is why when I asked her what her power was, even though she's an older woman, I had no hesitations asking what video game she was playing, and she delivered. Like, I love bonding over these particular things. Anyway, so now that I've stopped ranting, we can go back into the comments. Colleen says, I live with someone on the spectrum and have a couple of grandchildren and a great and a great-grandchild on the spectrum. How is it, Colleen, knowing from even 20 years ago how different information, acknowledgement, understanding is around it? Because I remember 20 years ago, it was not called a spectrum. It did not have leniency. It was labeled as wrong or not normal. And I think people on the spectrum still really struggle with being felt or seen as not normal. And I don't think the administration's helping with that, with this otherism. But how has that been for you, Colleen?
Well, one of the things I know with my brother-in-law's experience, and this was a lot more than 20 years ago, but one of his elementary teachers told his mom that they thought he was developmentally delayed.
Because the way of thinking and learning doesn't fit into the standardized box.
Right. She said that he thought he was impaired.
Yeah.
That's definitely not the case. But like you say, what I found with autistic people is they usually have one area that they really focus on. And they're really good at, being categorizing or working within that particular interest.
Mm-hmm. I will say that's usually the biggest tell. I learned that about my brother quite early on. Like, what were his specialty interests? What were his topics of interest? And it's roughly usually only about 2. Sometimes that can expand out, but from what I've learned and understood, it's like, what are the things that you're really into? What are the 2 things that are your entire personality? And I love asking that, because the way that they light up, they're just like, it's Disney princesses. And I'm like, let's go. Which is your favorite? Da, 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 da. And it's just like, makes them incredibly happy to be able to talk about the thing that they love. And that's what I've noticed in the geek space. It's that connection. Why do we wear geek t-shirts? It's so when someone else can see it, they're like, oh my God, I love the thing as well. And it's an instant way to connect. So if someone's like, oh, I'm on the spectrum, I'm like, what are your topics? What are we working with? And if it's something that I love, I'm like, yay. If it's something that I don't, I'm like, ooh, have fun with that. Like, I can't contribute to that conversation, but I know that if I get you started, like, we're here for a while. Skylar says, yes, people are avoiding getting officially diagnosed for this reason. Snores says, read Strong Female Character by Fern Brady. It's a great book. Okay. Skylar says, clarity is essential when communicating with us. There you go. I've actually learnt that through not only my brother with like, do not entertain common sense, spell it out. Great example. My brother's driving. My dad says, put your blinker on and turn. Which way? And you're like, you can only go left. You gotta say it. And you're just like, you gotta remove all sort of like room for interpretation, or you just have to be so precise and exact. And like for me, as soon as I know that, I'm like, I can adjust accordingly. It is more difficult for some, my parents. So, that's a learning curve as well. Vaden says authoritarian governments always need out groups to villainize, and it spreads. Yep. Hey, yo, Steve-O's joined the chat. Hello. Alicia says, I heard a joke saying we need to not disparage those with autism because they will be the ones fighting the AI robots one day. 100%. Like I said, there will be people whose brains work in a way that you will never be able to get to. And championing those people will elevate us as a society. Like, that's a no-brainer. Skylar says, our systemic way of thinking is useful for some things. It's frustrating for us too sometimes. I'd like to learn more about that. After doing the calculations, the group rating is 3.96 out of 5. There you go. We can round up to 4. Jay Bunt Rock says, I wonder if Rain Man still holds up today. I'm guessing that Dustin Hoffman's not on the spectrum. So that's always a bit of an interesting thing. Yes, Colleen.
I was just going to say something about that in the comments, is that I think there's a lot of people that when they find out you have a child on the spectrum, they immediately want to go, oh, what is he a genius in? And they kind of think that automatically that you've got to be a savant in some area.
But I mean, the genius can also just be a television series,
Yes.
And I say genius, which is like at a level that exceeds something that I'm capable of, right? Like I can watch a show and like it, but I feel like if someone loves that show, they will know everything about it. Like they know the statistics behind it. They look at the interviews around it. And so it's like, I think powerful, but you're right. I hear what you're saying where it's like, I would rather a default be what area are they like a genius in than spectrum, how bad. And that's what I've heard before in response to they're on the spectrum. I think a better way is like functioning, and it's like, in society. So sometimes it goes nonverbal, and then that's where the spectrum can go. And I think some people immediately default to sort of like, where do they sit on the spectrum? And I think that can be a bit of a slippery slope. I like to look at the positives around it. But I also know I adjust communication because of it. Yes, Colleen.
One thing I've recently heard is that it would be better to not think of it so much as a spectrum, but almost as a diagram with, like a circle with here they're high and maybe here not so much, and it's
not so linear.
Individualized.
Not so linear.
It's not linear.
I would argue that a spectrum does not necessarily have to be linear. A spectrum as a whole can be more 3D. So you could say like, I mean, I don't know. And I feel like it evolves and changes all the time. 20 years ago, it wasn't a spectrum. It was a different word. It was Asperger's. So it's like we are constantly changing the dialogue, the language, and learning more and more about it. I feel like 20 years ago, it was rarely ever mentioned. And now, and I think a lot of this has to do with self-diagnosing as well, and like learning other people talking about it, being like, oh, I relate to that. So then maybe I have it. But so many more cases of it. Like it's incredibly normalized. Any sort of like, oh, I'm neurodivergent. I have a different way of thinking. And I love that because I love communicating, and I'm like, oh, what works for you? I'll adjust. Like, I feel like I've got a communication tool belt a lot of the time where it's like, what do you need? What works for you? If someone goes, I'm a bit anxious, I'm like, cool. I will not leave room for guesswork. I will tell you directly, and I will provide the caveat of if I'm mad at you, I will let you know. If I haven't let you know, I am not mad at you. I am very comfortable and confident in letting you know if there's an issue. So the default of like, if me not saying something is because it doesn't exist. And I have that conversation with my anxious friends, and it almost like you see the weight lift off their shoulders. And you're like, you're not mad at me? I'm like, no, never was. And they're like, okay. And I'm like, if I don't say it, the onus is on me to share it with you. So if I'm not sharing it, it's not a problem. But that's very, very difficult for a lot of people. And there's so many adjustments that need to be made. Skylar says girls are getting diagnosed now. Lots of premenopausal and menopausal women figuring it out. I saw Martha Wells speaking about this. It wasn't until after 2013 that you could be autistic and ADHD together. The monotropism, ADHD, I believe it's called. I see, Lisa, you said that there was like an autistic. I think it's ADHD is what a term I've seen. No idea if it's official or not. Jeff said, just an FYI, on the spectrum isn't used as much these days. There you go. Is that as it implies a mild to severe sort of scale. Autism is multidimensional. Okay, got it. And can present a lot of different ways. No shade, so just an FYI. So spectrum is now on the way out. So what would the new terminology be?
As I say, really, they're just saying it's like autism is complex and multidimensional, and it doesn't have to be like there is like functioning and non-functioning, and all of that sort of stuff does still exist, but it's just the term on the spectrum just isn't used as much because it implies that you have to then find yourself somewhere. And though, yes, the spectrum doesn't necessarily imply linear, it in most people's minds, it does. Like it's from a low to a high.
Like that.
And like some people are really, really autistic and they like can't function, they can't communicate and whatever. And then other people are pretty high functioning as far as social stuff, but there's other things that it presents in a very different way. It's this is uncomfortable. It's not. I was raised in a time when you didn't talk about this stuff, and also I wasn't diagnosed as a kid. I was diagnosed as an adult, and so it's a weird thing for me. But it's just like one of those. I am fairly social. Like I don't mind being out and about with people, and I mean I used to give speeches to thousands of people, so I can do that stuff. But yeah, it's different. Like it's different for me. In mine, it's totally different. So yeah. Anyway, I'm going to stop because it's
no. I like this. I've never really had an awareness or conversation around it sort of being phased out. Like we have programming at the moment called Love on the Spectrum. So it's kind of like leaning into that and doubling down on that. I guess for me, I am not one of the people that see it as linear. I've never really seen it as linear. I guess you're exactly right. The firm line is functioning and non-functioning, and functioning in itself is so varied, and non-functioning can be varied as well. I think mainly having my brother on the spectrum, yeah, I've seen the depth. I've seen sort of like it not be linear for me. And I guess, yeah, it's like, you're right. The dial is almost like mild to severe. And I love that we're learning more and more about it. And the more we talk about it, the more we go, oh my gosh, mine is more like this. This is how I struggle. This is how I succeed. This is what it's like for me. But I understand like the fact that I was saying even 20 years ago, it was a completely different conversation. And it was like, not even close to what it is now. I feel like people are more comfortable with it. But I could also understand that you've only had comfort around it more recently than people not talking about it for a majority of your life.
And the other thing that is important to note is that it often presents wildly differently in women than it does in men. And that's the other reason that like sort of looking at it as a spectrum is weird because it can be vastly different sort of experiences depending on who you're talking about and everything else. Yeah. So, yeah.
So, because there's a couple of comments about this, like neurodivergent opens it up even more because neurodivergent also includes ADHD, ADD. I'm learning new ones as well. Semi-recently, someone said to me, I have really severe like fear of rejection. So even if rejection's not present, I feel a sense of rejection. And so it's like that needs a lot of reassurance. I can't remember the name of that, but that's something that's coming up more. And like, you know, people are kind of talking to me about that. I get a bit wary of that only because I'm like, what can I do to make you not feel rejected if there isn't rejection taking place? And that can be a heavier lift to kind of like dissuade any feeling of it. It's actually, I saw a reality dating show on Netflix last night and a girl said that, and it was wild, like how seeing her, having her conversation from her perspective, and then what he was experiencing having that conversation. And he was sharing something and she snapped and it 180'd. And he was like, whoa, was that shade? And she's like, yeah. And he's like, why? And she explained why. And I was like, whoa, that's really interesting because I'm seeing the conversation through his perspective. And I'm glad that she had like a strong sense of it and was able to take a beat and explain where she came from. Because like once she explained it, it's like, I'm really sensitive with this in this area. You guys have seen me go through that as well. I'm hypersensitive around being underestimated because I'm a woman. If anything like that flies remotely around me, I snap. I come out, stinger blazing. I'm just like, boom. And everyone's like, whoa, that's not what I was thinking. And I'm like, oh, this is a source. And I can recognize that. I'm like, this is a sensitive area for me because I have lived so long in the entertainment industry, in this career, where I have experienced time and time again people's default of me not knowing what I'm doing or talking about. And a lot of people thinking they know more than me in positions senior to me when they don't know what the fuck they're doing. So I have compounded frustration and bitter resentment. There you go. Skylar says, yes, our children are diagnosed and then we see it in ourselves. That's what happened with my dad. We had no idea with my dad. And then it was like, wait a second. If we kind of compare and contrast here, there are a lot more similarities that are taking place. There's lots of ways to be neurodivergent. There you go. Brush Kid says Katie is confirming that the terminology is ADHD for autism and ADHD. That's because she works in the Office of Accessibility. Would it be accurate to say it's a genre of neurodivergence? Is that where we're going with it, Jeff, now? It's in the neurodivergent family? Because neurodivergent is my brain works slightly differently. My brain works in this way instead of that way.
So this is a bad topic for me to talk about. I hate the term neurodivergent personally. Okay. This is just a personal thing. And it's mostly because of like self-diagnosis, and so many people just are wanting to say, oh, I'm neurodivergent. I think differently and I do this and I do that. And it's like, they don't actually have a diagnosis. They aren't actually like whatever. And I'm not trying to minimize their experience or anything else. They may very well feel that way, etc. But it's become almost a cool thing to be neurodivergent and to be like, and that's where I start to worry about things, especially with kids and stuff, where
100%.
they're
I've got a lot to say on
they're
this.
They're starting to self-diagnose, and it gets really into muddy and murky waters.
So that's social media and smartphones that is doing that. The increase of self-diagnosis has been happening in the last 15 years. Studies showed that more teenagers, especially teenage girls, needed a form of self-identity. So going online and seeing people talk about, I have this, I have that. So many cases of teenage girls faking Tourette's. There was a huge spike in sort of like what Tourette's was, and people went online and faked having tics. And it was this whole thing where like they tried to get diagnosed and the doctor's like, that's not what it is. That's not what a tic looks like. That's not what this is. But it was, I guess, wanting to feel a sense of something, belonging, or seeing that difference was accepted, standing out within the frames of things. So I was guilty of it. I remember when my algorithm was big into what is ADHD. And I was like, I'm not, let's say there's like 10 identifying factors. I got 5 of them. I don't got the other 5 of them. Do I think maybe I have somewhat of an ADHD tendency? Yes, I interrupt people. Yes, I can predict sentences and where people are going with their thought. I operate fast. I have object displacement from time to time. So if I put food in the crisper in the fridge, it disappears forever. So that's like interesting how like some of them I was like, oh, but then other ones I'm like, no, that's not me. The amount of people that go, oh my God, I feel seen because of these 3 out of 10 things. I now feel like I'm encompassing the entire thing, and I don't want to get diagnosed or medicated, but I do want to let people know that this is my label and I am defined by this self-discovery. I get that. I also have a huge problem, and I have to check myself on this. I am not a clinical therapist. I do not want to diagnose people as well. I can recognize patterns. That's because my EQ brain recognizes behavioral patterns. It is not my job to explain behavior in a clinical way. And a lot of people online making content, there is a guy who's got millions of followers and says in his bio, I'm not a therapist, I'm just noticing things. And I'm like, don't fucking make this content that's dangerous. So yes, Jeff, I do hear you. There is a lot of information out there. I do think that like people taking steps to better understand themselves is a win. There will always be people that seek the label, exploit the label. If it's really debilitating, seek solutions with medications or whatever it is. But if you just like talking about it more than you like doing something about it, then there's your, you know. I still think that neurodivergent is a great word for it, though. I think words can be weaponized very quickly. If people want to say, I'm neurodivergent, I feel like it's broad enough to be like, sure. But other people who are actually clinically neurodivergent get to say, I feel that my brain does this, and, you know, this is where I land in a three-dimensional spectrum, so to speak. Wow, this is Murderbot. This is what Murderbot does. I love these conversations. I always have. People are fascinating. Brains are interesting. People are interesting. Having Martha say that she has not been officially diagnosed either. She's afraid to do that because of the current administration. But learning through her writing and then therefore the community, the impact that she's had on her community by writing a character, massive. I think that's really cool. I wrote a character, people read the character, they gave insight into the behaviors of that character, which then meant that she learned more about herself. I think that's really, really cool. Support needs instead of function levels. There's support needs instead of function levels. Great. Okay, what are the support needs? What support does that person need instead of what area are they able to function at? Jeff gave that a 2 thumbs up. I needed to hear that because I would have thought function would have been better to the support, because for me, I would read, what support do you need? It sounds like you need help, you are less than, and then require someone else to, you know. Yeah, that's interesting, but I like that, and that's really good to know. Support needs. Okay. I saw Martha Wells spoke about figuring out she's autistic after writing Murderbot. Yeah, there you go. Alicia says it's still called the autism spectrum disorder. But like every disorder, it can vary in severity. But as Maude said, where the severity increases vary from person to person. Okay. Skylar says women tend to mask more, so that adds to the difficulty of our getting diagnosed. And I would be like, why do women have the skill set to mask more? And how is it ingrained into women more? Why do women need to protect themselves? That is a survival mechanism that women have adapted to throughout the generations. Why? I'd love to dive into that study. Alicia says, I also want to share my daily mantra when advocating my son. Every weakness is a strength in the right environment. Every strength is a weakness in the wrong environment. Love that. I feel like that comes into the dating world. You can't say the wrong thing to the right person. I read that and I was like, oh, cool. That means I can be weird. Ben says, I've personally not heard of it, but I'm looking into it. It's apparently called rejection sensitivity dysphoria. Yes, rejection sensitivity. They're sensitive to that's happening right now. The Tom Fuller, thanks for the follow. Sorry, that was 7 minutes ago. I've been ranting. Neurodivergent can include disorders like dyslexia. So that's the other thing. I feel like I have dyslexic tendencies, but I don't have dyslexia. Every now and then, if I'm reading a teleprompter, I glance ahead and what I say and what I read will combine. But I don't think that that's dyslexia, so to speak. I also have the one part where if I talk about a saying, like it's just anecdotes, it's just sayings, I mesh 2 sayings together. So that's not completely dyslexic, but it is one thing that I do in the dyslexia family, which is get the ball rolling, get things moving. I'd be like, get the move rolling. And you're like, what? And I'm like, That's probably a name for that as well. I'll find out. Colleen says, other people told me I had ADD before I even realized what it was. My psychologist friend confirmed it. There you go. Alicia says, I was diagnosed, for ADD during my first residency when I had a mental breakdown. But I was in denial for like a decade until my son got his diagnosis and I learned a lot more about myself. That's so fascinating. My brain, I love things that make sense. It's like I behave like A because of B. Like, you know what I mean? Like, for me, understanding you don't just have a mental breakdown because you're overwhelmed a lot of the time. You're having a mental breakdown because you weren't able to process something. So like for me, when that makes sense, which is why I love therapy, you behave like this because of the response from when that happened. Amazing. Now I know. I feel like I've got power or control or ownership or understanding over the thing, because when you react and you don't know why, for me, it feels a little out of control. And that's when I'll spiral emotionally. I'm like, whoa, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. But when it's like, oh, it's because of this, ding, it goes away. It's like magic for me like that. I'm like, oh, cool. I don't have to worry or stress or overanalyze or overthink because it makes sense. I love that. I don't know what that's called either. Jeff says, for later reference, I posted an article that skims the surface of the semantics discussion in show chat. Love it. Is that in show chat? Oh, in show chat. So if you're a book club member, you have access to the show chat discussion in Discord. So everything that we talk about, it's like a members only kind of discussion expansion of the show as well. But we also have a free Discord, so we can talk about it in any other channel that's somewhat prevalent. So there you go. That was a lot of fun. Let's talk about some of the key things. 1, you're never supposed to work with children and pets. I love the fact that Murderbot was around kids. Kids do not understand semantics. Kids do not understand, are they not wanting to be touched because they're on the spectrum or they have autism or they don't like... My brother, I've just told you, he is smack bang in the middle of that spectrum, wherever that sits in a 3-dimensional fashion, but like... just to give you guys an understanding. He does not like being touched. Physical touch is absolutely unacceptable and not okay. I got a hug from him for my birthday once, and I'm pretty sure he squashed my trachea. It was just elbow. I'm like, cool, we don't need to hug. That was violent. I'm not sure you've hugged before, and you will likely not hug again. We're all good. My dad hugs me like I've just come off the sports field. I'm like... great game. I'm like, that's not what I want. Mum and I, 2 peas in a pod, best hug of my life. Like, that thing could raise me from a coma. I love my mum's hug so much. My mum and I, not so much. I mean, if the spectrum is a thing, not really that. All the men in my family, very much so. They think differently. Mum and I feel differently. And that's how we just figure it. That's why my mum's on book club talking about emotions and feelings and character development. My nephews do not understand why my brother does not want to be touched. One of them is very tactile, wants to hug, grab onto, hold, be next to, sit on, put an arm over, and found out that my brother doesn't like hugged. It is a game for my nephew to chase my brother around trying to hug him. It is not a game for my brother to duck and wave and to get out of... touch range from my nephew. My nephew has unlimited energy. My brother has to have unlimited energy. They keep each other occupied for hours. For me, it's perfect. Great. What's happening with the nephew? He's chasing Jack. That'll last for hours, because for my brother, there isn't an end game. The end game means getting a hug, which is not acceptable. So it will last forever. I don't have that energy. What a blessing. Jack's ended up being the best babysitter in the world. What we have to understand is that is actually traumatizing for my brother. He genuinely does not want to be hugged. He's sort of laughing sometimes, but he lasts as long as he does ducking and weaving and avoiding, because he does not like the end game, which is getting a hug. So having Murderbot in a situation where this kid wants to hug and hold on and not let go, and Murderbot going, I feel like for the risk assessment, this has to happen. I don't want it to happen, but because there's only 2 adults here and there's 2 kids here and that one's volatile and that one's unstable, if it needs to hold on, I guess I will just deal with this. And then, of course, that moment when you realize that the other adult could have actually interjected and could have, come in to hold the child. And that adult knows that Murderbot does not want to be the hug. But at the same time, Murderbot realizing nothing truly bad happened by holding the child. It wasn't sort of like, I feel like a lot of the time when you don't do something, the fear of not knowing what it is the hardest part. I'm scared of heights. Once I go on the roller coaster, it's fine. It's the anticipation of not knowing how bad it's going to be. And I wonder if that works for Murderbot in this situation. I don't like that. I don't know if I want that. I'm not sure if it will be bad. And then once it's happened, it was like, oh, okay, I survived that. If it's going to happen often, I won't like it, but it didn't hurt me, kill me, affect me. It wasn't dire to my situation. I did love that moment. This is the times where we're putting Murderbot in situations that it hasn't experienced before, and it's kind of processing it as well. I like learning and understanding about Murderbot in these situations, because now I know what my brother's thinking when he has to force a hug. Like when I'm like, I'd like a hug for my birthday. And now Murderbot's giving me his inner monologue. And I'm like, cool, we'll just have a conversation instead. That's a lesser evil for him sometimes. I like those moments. What did everyone else think? Usually kind of kids can be more irritating in books because they are written by an adult and it's not as authentic, or it's like what agenda the adult wants to give it. How did you find the kids in the book?
Yeah, like I feel like kids in the book were pretty realistic. I felt like they felt like they said they didn't have the boundaries that you normally get when you're an adult, and they just kind of go for it. And I feel like I think in general, I like this is the first time Murderbot's been touched, right? But like every time,
it had to happen in the first book. Remember, it had to come in to hold the wounded. I can't remember who it was who got attacked by the hostile, the monster-esque type.
Oh, the giant fawn or something. Yeah, it was something like that, I think. But yeah, I think every time it's happened, it hasn't been too bad for it. It's been, like I said, it's been very anxious before it happens. Like the anticipation has been terrible, but once it actually happened, like, okay, this isn't that bad, I guess. So, but they still have it. They have the future times, so it hasn't gone away. The anxiety hasn't gone away. It's slowly like acclimating to it, I guess.
Yeah, and I hear what you're saying with it. And sometimes, like, you hear it process. I don't want this to happen, but let's read the situation. Their insides might be outside soon. A beautiful moment was it uses Sanctuary Moon to replicate emotional circumstances. And in the first book, that preservation, I can't remember what their name is, but they're going into shock. And so Murderbot recognizes, using sort of analytics, well, when someone went into shock in my show, what happened? And so enacts the protocol of what happens in said situation. And Murderbot asks, do you have kids? And that's something, it doesn't care. It has no interest in the topic. It does not want to know about this person further on an emotional level or in a, getting to know them. It does not want to be in that. Recognize that this is something to do in that situation to help someone come out of shock. And it's like almost it's analytical processing, programming, and using a television show to help emotional programming in situations. I thought that was really, really well done. Preservation Alliance, there it is. I asked Martha Wells this, and I'm going to ask everyone else, what's your Sanctuary Moon? Do you have the thing that is your comfort food? It is your blanket. It is the thing that helps you switch off. I feel like that's why a lot of us play video games. We like television shows or read books, a sense of escapism. But do you have like the wham bam? Yep. If I need to decompress, if I want to switch my brain off, or if I want to unplug, if I want to reset, is there media that you go to that is guaranteed for you? Does anyone have one? Yes, Jimmy.
I have spoken to Tim about this before, but mine is music.
Like I bet Tim's is music as well, if I had to guess.
Yeah, because I'm one of those people that has brain reactions from an auditory response. So if I'm trying to calm myself down, I listen to metal music. But when I'm trying to hype myself up, I listen to like jazz music. You know, so again, it's just how it is. You know, it centers me. You know,
music is so powerful in that way.
Yeah, exactly.
I have music that gets me out of a sad funk. There's a handful of songs where I've decided I cannot be sad if I listen to this music. But sometimes when I'm in a sad funk, I don't automatically go to putting on the music to get me out of it. Sometimes I just sit in it and I wallow. But if I'm like, okay, I don't want to be sad anymore, Roma Fade by Andrew Bird is the cure to depression for my DNA. Lisa says definitely music, different genres for different moods. I also, to get into a work mindset, I listen to whimsical fantasy playlists. If you guys need my whimsical fantasy playlist, it is so good. No words, just vibes. And I feel like I'm transported off into my like best elf state. Tim.
Yes, you're correct. It's music for me mostly, but at the same time, like, music is also a kind of a brain check, because when I don't have it, quiet is really loud. It's very strange, but quiet will actually give me a headache, and so I will often just have music on just to have noise to kind of quiet everything else.
I'm like that, and it actually bothered my neurodivergent friend. The noise was like really present, whereas background music to me literally creates a background ambience, and like I can notice it, not notice it, it just exists, but it also, it stabilizes me a little bit. So that's super, super interesting as well.
It has bothered many people because I have to have it on, like even sleeping, I can't sleep.
Fan, have to have a fan. Oh my God, hotels are so quiet. I was on the road and these hotels, I'm like, I need constant as well. So there are some hotel air cons that will set the temperature and then clunk off when it's set the temperature. I will wake up every single time. I'm like, put it on loud the whole time. I want that thrum, that hum, that I had to find an app to play brown noise so I could sleep.
See, I'm even weirder than that. I actually had a conversation about this with my physics professor in college, but like a fan, I know a lot of people that have to have white noise or a fan or something like that to sleep. I can't do that. I have to have like interrupted music. Like I have to listen to, I've fallen asleep listening to like Metallica at Shake the Walls volume. Like it has to be up and down. It's I don't know why. It's just that regulates a lot of just my brain.
So I would have thought that was
for me, music is very self-regulating.
I would not have understood that until I got Zelda. She snores, and it is not always, it's not consistent, but I have now adjusted to her grumbles, grunts, snores, and noise, and that actually puts me in a deeper sleep. So I miss that noise. Alicia says, this is so interesting. I will never relax with music. I can't not analyze it. I come from a musical family. But silence is also deafening, so it's green noise all the way as long as it's rhythmic. What's green noise? Is that like nature sounds? I know there's brown noise, pink noise, white noise. What's green noise? I will say I found on this Rain app where it has my brown noise, which is the best one because it sounds like a fan. There is a setting which is rain on a tin roof. And if you want to transport me back to Australia, it is rain on a tin roof. That sound was magical. Actually, that's probably the one I could fall asleep to. But then every now and then they had like rolling thunder and that would wake me up because it was inconsistent. Anyway, green noise is just Kermit singing. Oh my God. Here we go. And we've actually got the answer. Alicia says green noise +4 green noise is a soothing variation of white noise that emphasizes mid-range frequencies, usually censored around 500 hertz. By eliminating the harsher, higher frequencies of standard static, it closely mimics the natural ambient sound of the outdoors, like soft rainfall, flowing streams, and gentle ocean waves. Okay, I kind of called it. That's fun.
I was going to add that I do also have like comfort songs and comfort artists.
Yeah, well, I mean, comfort anything.
Moods.
Comfort is familiar, right? During the pandemic, when that shit went down, I immediately went back to 2 video games and television series that were my comfort shows. And it's comfort because I've already devoured it. I've already played through it. I've already seen it. And I know I enjoyed it. So it's guaranteed bringing me back to a place that I know was good. And that can be a song, that can be a book, that can be a game. But the notion of a comfort thing, it doesn't mean that you're not getting challenged in it. It doesn't mean that it's like, mushy jelly kind of content. It just means that you've done it before and it's safe. So the comfort whatever, I don't think it's as much as comfort food. Comfort food is like, I'm being naughty. But I feel like my comfort games were Dragon Age 3 and Witcher, because I love my fantasy. And so like being there, like Witcher's not an easy game. There's multiple different ways that you can play through it as well. And it's a huge undertaking. Like I'm pretty sure Witcher stresses some people out. I love it. It's comfort to me. And it's Geralt's butt. Just there the whole time. Except when he's riding Roach, but it's still technically kind of there. That's comfort for me. Oh, James, I thought you were applauding that notion. I thought you were giving me like, it turns out you had bugs around you. That's funny. I really want to acknowledge something that KP said earlier as well, because I think it bears mentioning and talking in a discussion. We kind of touched upon it a little bit as well, where it's like, what is neurodivergent? What is spectrum? Like, how do we come up with that term? And it's, what are you diverging from? What is considered normal or average brain function? No two people on the planet think the same, react the same, feel the same. We are all neurodivergent from everyone else. I do not think that term describes the condition we've talked about correctly. I agree. What is a societal norm? Norm is indicative of normal. I would argue that normal is almost what's societally like tolerable, or what people have to do the least effort to process it. Not sure. But I agree with you. I think that consciously and subconsciously, neurodivergent people and people who have autism truly believe that they are not normal. And that breaks my heart, because they are their normal, Yeah, I just wanted to mention that, because you're right. I think that the problematic thing is defining that there is a normal when there's not a normal. And what is a societal norm? Is it not having autism? Because I feel like the thing I did like about the spectrum is that everyone's on it. Everyone's on it to some degree. It's just where you sit on said spectrum. But you're on it, because that's why it's called a spectrum. Like, it's a range, right? And we're all fitting in that range somewhere. I think that my EQ is out of normal range. I feel like I can recognize behavioral patterns, what people are thinking and feeling, higher than the normal person. And yet, it is considered a social norm to understand social environments, social interactions, those sorts of things. but I feel like mine is at an abnormal level. And yet I get the grace of being normal because I can be in a social situation and clock it completely. So that's also interesting. Yeah, boring. You have to be like divergent of boring, because I feel like normal is boring. No? I think boring is a better term for normal. Thank you, K. Frito. Lisa says, I do find I will reread book series that I loved before picking up a new series because I have a fear that I won't like it, so I procrastinate starting it. Yes, it's risk. There is risk involved, Lisa. You do not know if you like it. You do not know if it's going to hit the spot. And sometimes you're in a place or a mood where safe, knowing, understanding, guarantee is the choice. That's why I'm a mood reader. Sometimes I'm open to a new experience. And it's like, hey, if I don't like it, I'm in a place where that's okay. There are other times where I'm like, nah, I need to read a thing that I know is safe. Dungeon Crawler Carl will always be that for me. Whatever mood I'm in, I will be in a Dungeon Crawler Carl mood. That's just how that goes. Even if it's like an upsetting scene in it, doesn't matter. It's still Dungeon Crawler Carl. It's still Jeff Hayes reading to me. That's my favorite place in the world. Colleen says, when my granddaughter finally found meds that worked for her, she couldn't believe that her brain could be quiet. I know. This is a thing. Like sometimes like brains are made up of chemicals. It's the chemical balance or imbalance some of the times. And you can medically kind of like counteract that. A lot of my ADHD friends, upon discovering Adderall, were just like, holy shit, I didn't know it could be like this. So I'm usually a lot of the time against some medications as a Band-Aid approach and not a getting to the root of a problem approach. But when it comes to kind of chemicals, I think that antidepressants, there's too many variables of rolling the dice to see what works. And I've experienced really catastrophic side effects from them, and I didn't want to go on them in the first place. So emotional damage. Was that the time to do it, Jimmy? Probably not, but you're lucky it's me, and and I can laugh it up. I get to name my first D&D character soon. What are you going to name your D&D character? What's your class and race?
Yeah, we have just starting. We just set up our first meet, so I'm still just learning. So right in the beginning.
Exciting! How exciting! Mine was the Eastern European girl from Captain Planet, the girl who harnessed wind. That was my D&D character's name. Shout out Lenka. Shout out Lenka. What does it mean? Don't know. I was a kid, locked onto the name, wanted to bring it to life. That's all. Alicia says, word. I teach this to my students all the time. Pathology is not variation. It is when it gets to the point of dysfunction, and dysfunction is ultimately determined by survivability. Survivability, given the environment. Example, worked for a CEO who is legally blind, who got a full paycheck from the government because it was acknowledged that we don't provide enough accessibility for people who can't see. But he ran his own nonprofit. Fascinating. Where do we see the interviews and answers to everyone's questions, says Skylar? YouTube. Look up Maude's Book Club on YouTube. Give that a subscribe. That's where all the author interviews and clips will go, and that's where all the full-length episodes are. I also do post them to Spotify. We just have to get a better system in place because at the moment it means extrapolating the audio, me recording a separate intro, stitching that together, getting a thumbnail, and that we had an okay system, but that editor doesn't work for me anymore. So I'm trying to use Riverside to automatically just upload the audio episodes, and I have to do something with an RRS, and as soon as something's a little bit hard, I put it off as a need to know later until it's been 7 months since I put an episode out, and then I'm like, I will revisit now. But my brain works different. I feel like sometimes like what doesn't bother me absolutely infuriates other friends. I have no idea how long it was, but one of my picture frames was tilted for who knows. And my friend came over and they were like, ah! what are you doing? Doesn't this like kill you? And I'm like, I have never noticed. So I feel like that's my superpower. The things that should bother me just don't. And I'm grateful every day for that. And I do have a lot of empathy for people that it does take up space in the brain. Alicia says, I've got to go, but I just want to thank everyone for letting me talk about such sensitive subjects. This book club is a big part of my healing journey. That's my favorite thing ever. KP said that earlier as well. What's your sanctuary moon? And KP Dub says, Maude's book club is my sanctuary moon. And I nearly cried. Alicia, thank you for being confident and open and willing and vulnerable enough to share it. I think that speaks volumes with the community that we have built here, that you're able to share these things and feel okay to kind of explore it and to talk about it without having shame or any sort of like conversation about it. Even Jeff, who opened up saying, hey, this is kind of uncomfy for me, but here's my experience. I'm like, cool, I'm just here to learn. And if I've been doing it wrong, the only cure to that is information. And I've always been so strong about that. I would rather fail in a safe environment and be better than mess up once and be forever cancelled for it. The cure to ignorance is learning. And ignorance is a big portion of why mistakes are made. You do something that upsets someone, 99.9% of the time, your intent was not to upset a person. So the only thing you can do is learn how to be better and a willingness to do that. So Skylar says your curiosity and kindness open to learning is your superpower. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Colleen just comes up from looking down for a while just to nod. And I'm like, man, that makes me feel lovely too. Thank you, Colleen. I see you. Thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate this open, welcoming space. I've missed a good book club that's open to all. Ah, well, welcome. Better late than never. Love having you here. I love how participatory you've been in this. A lot of the time, book readers can be introverts and they're just happy to watch and not share. And you've instantly used this space to ask questions and to contribute. And I love that. I love that. So thank you. And Vaden just gifted you a sub because we are awesome around here. Vaden, thank you for doing that. That's so fun. Now you can express yourself with emojis. Yay! And no ads. My sanctuary moon is horror movies. So there's no wrong answers, James, but that's fucked up. Like, let's really unpack that for only 2 seconds because I hate horror movies.
What the actual fuck was that?
I just saw Obsession too.
I had to look up the premise because I know I'm never going to watch it, but I want to know what everyone's talking about. And just reading it freaked me out. Are you kidding? You liked it?
Even the energy in the theater. Yeah, even the energy of the theater was great. Cause, I guess it's
why does it calm you? Why does violence and disturbing things and murder and horror? How does that balance? How does that?
I guess it's just a disconnect because it's my brand of fantasy. No, I know it's not real, and it's just something that takes my mind off. And
okay.
Then you get a little chuckle when someone's eye pops out of its socket. You know.
Yeah. No, I'm a woman, and so horror more often than not could be way more a reality for me than others. And so yeah, I see that, and I'm like, oh, this could be Tuesday. Also, totally as a separate aside, if you get a wishing willow stick, don't fucking break that and mention my name. Just don't mention my name, okay? Like, get that way out of your head. We are not doing that. It is, but the conversation around it's important because it's around women not having autonomy. She was literally a victim of someone not able to share his feelings and being so scared of rejection that he controlled the narrative and situation and removed her autonomy. Powerful conversation. Also was written and directed by a man. But hey, at least he's having that conversation. Lisa says that's how it is for my niece. She literally watches horror movies, horror movie kill counts on YouTube.
Yeah, she's obsessed with like just watching that stuff. Saw movies are like her favorite thing. She could watch those all day, every day, and I think it's disgusting.
This is in my 20s, but I was at a club, and it was like 9 o'clock at night. I was there early. Saw was playing on a mini TV that was a prop, but they played Saw. I complained to management. I was just like, why are you playing this in a public? I did not want to watch this. It's on a tiny television. My eyes keep drawing back because this guy is literally sawing his own hand. I'm trying to catch up with friends, and a man is sawing his hand off. Could you just not, like, what happened to the Princess Bride? Why can't we just do something not horrific? Yeah, Darren, you and I, no thanks, never. I'm good. I'm so good. Cash says I don't like horror movies because I don't think they're scary at all. I want to know what Murderbot thinks of horror movies. Surely Murderbot's gone through media like Sanctuary Moon because of the familiarity, kind of. It's not even that familiar for it. I wonder if I would want to know Murderbot's thoughts on that. Is it going to hyperanalyze it? Is it going to kind of do risk assessment on it? Is it going to use it as like good information on worst case scenarios? Yeah, that's interesting. We're over time. Fuck, that happens when I go on tangents. And this was a really, really big one. Big tangent. June's books are locked in and have been locked in for months. KP, can I get a hell yeah? This is good for me.
Hell yeah.
Already locked in the dates for it as well. Because we're going to tackle a big chunky book, even though it's not as big as other Dungeon Crawler Carl books. The second and third week of the month, we will be doing that. If you can simultaneously read Song of Achilles, we're exploring that on even though Darren can't do that, and I apologize. I just can't do the 4th. I can't do the first week of June. I have an event. Got some cool things lined up with work. I don't know what happened, but work is pouring in and I'm stoked. But I can't do the first week, so I'll tell you if Supergirl's any good. Was that embargoed? Shit. Don't know. Anyway, watching Supergirl in 2 weeks. It was a really good discussion, though. Does that mean I can stop donating subs and such? Yes! Actually, wait until my internet bill comes in. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. It used to be cheaper. They've made it higher again, which is no fun. I like being scared. I hate real gory horror. I definitely not torture stuff. I can't stand it. Yeah. And I know that, like, I don't know. My brain means that I make an argument and then automatically see the counter argument. So what I have with that is I don't need to be reminded about the worst part of humans. I won't watch the news because it is fear-mongering and it's constant reminders of how horrible people can be. At the same time, it's now willful ignorance, isn't it? And I have a problem with willful ignorance. So that's a contradiction that I have there. But also a lot of clinical studies have happened where there are no real positives from watching regular news. It only has a negative impact on your mental health. And Diary of a CEO and all that, a lot of like high executives don't fuck with news. And I find that to be really, really interesting. So there you go. The audacity of a Spectrum increasing their prices given how poor their service is. Mate. A lot of Spectrum talk, and we didn't talk about the internet for a lot of it, which was nice. You can read about the news and not watch it. Doesn't matter. 14 people were set alight on fire because... No, you don't need to know. You just don't need to know about it. On TikTok, I found the kindness mob. Colleen, we know about my trigger of like why I hate men. I stumbled onto male feminists on TikTok. Oh my God, that was so good for me. I was like, what do you mean men actually can think like this? What do you mean men are like teaching other men to be better? I was like, oh, this is the hope I needed. I'm so used to being, on nerd social media and gaming social media, and my existence is offensive. So like just knowing that was a thing, I slept better. I was like, oh my God, male feminists exist. Swipe, 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 follow, follow, follow. Like, love it, love it, love it. Makes me happy. This is my balance. I don't do that creatively, but I do it in a lot of comment sections because the news is never balanced. It's all crime and war, never the kid who won the spelling bee or the mum who rescued a dog. I know. I love Hope Core. That's a mood that I'm always about. Although I will still cry because when the disabled dog that's blind gets rescued and it's rehomed and it's living its best life and, oh my God, I'm sobbing. I'm sobbing. Remember, misogyny is a skill issue. Damn straight. We are reading Dungeon Crawler Carl Book 8, A Parade of Horribles. You are not ready for the end of that book. We are reading Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I'm releasing the Martha Wells discussion Tuesday on YouTube. The clips will roll out over the weekend. I am playing Dungeon Crawler Carl Tabletop RPG on Saturday, and I will be GMing. Don't ask me if I've even spent a single thought on it. Not a one.
You know the answer.
Not a one. I might start thinking about it tomorrow. I will definitely start prepping it on Saturday. That's how my brain works. Spontaneity, last minute. I operate in 24-hour cycles. So if you want to join, we actually have a new Game On member. Do you remember Matt Aarons, who was a part of Fungeons and Flagons? He's joined back up again, which is great.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, I know. So we've got to get him involved in the TTRPG. Hopefully, I think he said he can only be available for like the last half hour of it. So maybe we could do a character creation at the end if he decides to pop in. That'll be fun. Thank you so much for... Oh, when did I drop names? Academics calling me out for name dropping, but I don't even know who it was.
It's not the names, it's the project thing the movie you're talking about.
I'm seeing Supergirl. There you go. My bad. Thanks for the wonderful conversation and discussion. Just a reminder, everything that you share here, it stays here. This is not to use against people or, weaponize it in any particular way at all. I appreciate everyone who shares. Same goes for me. If I say this shit here, please don't weaponize it back against me. You said this one time, that means you have to be this person. No, we don't do that. But I don't think any of you will, which is why I share it. So thank you for that. My voice is on the fritz. I'm going to go to bed in half an hour. Great chat. Love Murderbot. We should raid, even though I'm on YouTube and I'm on TikTok. Hold on, let me go back to TikTok. Mr. Sofa said, "Hi, Maude," in Donut's voice, which I love, and said I need to read Murderbot. Got to add that to my list. Tales from Tours said, "Brains are so interesting and complex in how we all think and communicate and behave." Wendy said, Maude, love you, miss you. I mean, I'm just going to read that out loud because it makes me feel nice. My little niece is on the spectrum and learns and dominates at board games in the blink of an eye. Superpower. My Tism loves this book when it comes to relatability. Where do we stand on Tism and Tiz? Because I think it's cute. I actually really like it. But I'm not. I just feel like if I were on the spectrum, I'd be like, hey, the Tiz, I've got Riz with Tiz. But that's me. Everyone else is like, I like Tism. I really like Tism. I think Tism's really cute. I think it makes it whimsical.
Just like me, Jesus.
I think it's whimsy tizzy, I dig it. On that note, thanks for the chat. Thanks to everyone who tuned in over on TikTok. I appreciate it. Let's quickly raid someone on Twitch. We don't have to either. We can do whatever the hell we want. That's what's cool about life.
Do it.
Do it. They're playing Fortnite.
There's somebody playing Librarian Tidy Up Time that has 15 viewers right now.
Oh, what's their username?
Ashley Ann, ASHLEEEEE. It's like 5 E's.
I need to know how many E's there are.
Yeah, it's.
Can you copy and paste it in the chat?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe.
Yeah, copy paste it in the chat. Guys, thanks for the discussion. Even if you haven't read the book, a lot of the conversations pertain to a lot of people. So
I was going to bring that game up because I definitely just bought it and started playing it yesterday.
There you go. I just copied the Twitch link into the show chat.
So it's 5 E's.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like 5 E's.
That's not helping me to raid.
Yeah.
I needed to copy and paste the actual. Can you do that for me? Can you copy and paste? Oh, wait, I can. I did it. I can, okay. And I did.
You're a strong and capable woman, Maude. I believe in you.
Thank you.
New achievement.
I copy and pasted. All right, bye, everyone. Have fun. I'm going to chat with the members just for like 5 minutes before I go to bed because I'm fried.